All right, so now that you've watched the controlled experimental, or like the control trials of the oil pollution spill, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the data that we collected. And I know you couldn't really write data down during the other video, so now what I want you to do is make sure that you have your data collection sheet open in Cami. And so I went ahead and I filled out what we're doing here. So on this box, I put amount of oil. So for each trial, how much oil did we do? And then for this one, I put control with the wetland and experimental without the wetland. So we're looking at how much oil happened to make it through. So the way we can figure this out, oopsie, wrong way, there we go, is to look at actually these little paper bag thingies these little sheets of paper bag that I made, and that we dipped them in the water, and we looked at how much oil they had on them. So the way I did that to make it quantitative, because otherwise we can just say, oh yeah, this one has only a little bit, and then the next one has a little more, and then the next one has a lot. So this one, what I did on all of them was I made a grid. So each paper bag sheet has 32 grids and 32 little boxes on the grid. And so what I did was I went through and I counted how many of these had oil. So on this one, I counted 6 out of 32 that have oil. So if we go back to our sheet, we can put here 6 out of 32. And then if we go to, oopsie, wrong thing, there we go. We go back here and we look at the second one. See, the oil is a little bit darker, but this one had 8 out of 32. So I counted 8 out of 32 that had oil. And then the third trial, I'm actually thinking I might have grabbed the fourth one by accident, but the third trial, I counted 28, because I shouldn't have counted that one maybe. But, again, sometimes a little bit of it is subjective. You have to take your best, be honest with what you think is true. I honestly do think I grabbed the fourth one, though, after we put a whole cup in. But either way, we're just going to count it for this one. So 28 out of 32. So we go back here and we say this one had 8 out of 32, and this one had 28 out of 32. So the way we're going to try and do this is we're going to calculate the percentage. So, oopsie, I don't know what I did there. So instead of like adding them up and taking the average, I mean, I guess we could average them all together if we wanted to. So what is the percentage of 6 divided by 32? And the way you calculate percentage is you divide these two numbers, so 6 divided by 32. Calculator here. So 6 divided by 32 is 0.1875, but then you have to multiply by 100, and that gives you the percentage. So this is 18.75%. And now this one, and now I don't even have to use the calculator for this one, because 8 times 4 is 32, so this is going to be 0.25. Well, it's going to be 25%. All right, not 0.25, 25%. And then this one I do need the calculator. 28 divided by 32, oopsie, 28 divided by 32 is, times 100 is 87.5%. Now, I wish I had known if I grabbed the right one, but that's why you need to label everything in advance. So now, we have to watch the second part of the video, and then we'll write down this data at the end of that. Oopsie, gotta find it first. Oh, enough for this. Oopsie, gotta find the right. There we go. Sorry, gotta scroll through that bad trial of that. Same idea. This time we're not going to pour water. Oh yeah, I think we did. We poured a cup of water. Same thing. Here for the skizzers. This time we just poured straight away. Enough for this. Here's a quarter cup. So the reason we only did 3 was because I ran out of oil. All right. So just as before, I have my little paper bags and I've labeled them. So this is experiment 1. So we're just measuring how much oil goes on there for experimental trial 1. All right. Here's my next quarter cup. Uh-oh, I'm going to run out of oil. This is experimental trial 2. You can really see it going in there now. Oh yeah, you can see how it gets darker, see? So that's experimental trial 2. And then this is going to be my last little bit of oil. It's not going to be enough. Oh no, it's a bummer. Well, experimental trial 3. I may just have to go with 3 because that was just not quite enough. So let it sit there for a minute, filter out, and then do our little paper bag test again. And you can see, ooh, that's very, very greasy. All right, so what we'll do is we'll compare this to the control from the last one. All right, we really need to wait for it to dry because all right, so I have succeeded in making a ginormous mess, but it was worth it for science. And we will discuss later. All right, now if we go back here to here, now we can look at the experimental paper bags. So this is experiment 1. And what we can see is that it's very light, but even though it's very light, there's still oil splotches on most of these. So I counted 24 out of 32 for the first one. So if we go back to our little CAMI document, we could put in here 24 out of 32. And then for the second one, we've got this. And you can see it really got dark once it spread out a little bit. And that's 29 out of 32. I mean, maybe even more because there's like a little bit of oil there. But we just count the really dark splotches, 29 out of 32. So we'll go back here, enter our data, 29 out of 32. And then last but not least, experimental 3 for the one with no wetland. Oopsie, here we go. You can see that it really, like as the paper bag dried, the oil just like covered the whole thing. So that's 32 out of 32. There, it's completely covered. So 32 out of 32. So we know that this one right here is 100%. We don't have to do any math. Oops, not 10%, 100. Now these we need to calculate the percentage. So again, what we do is we divide 24 divided by 32. . 32 . 32 . 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. 32. and not 75%. And I'm not going to do this last one because one of the things I want you to show me is that you know how to do it. So you calculate that one, and that's going to be part of how I measure whether or not you understand how to do that. So, these are the data. All right. Now remember that you should have had a hypothesis and a question and all that stuff up here already done before you watch the videos. And now you have to analyze your data. So what do you think that means? So here we had, it went from 18, it started at 18, this one started at 75%. This one was 25, and this one was percent. And then this one was 87.5%, and that was 100%. So what you have to do now is you have to look at these data, and you have to see, does the wetland actually help water quality? Does it help filter out the oil? So that's an assessment that you should make in your analysis and in your discussion. And then your conclusion should be a statement such as this one, but talking about oil pollution. All right, that is all. Good luck. We will do the CER together.